Tuning your instrument. I'm going to do this in a two-part series. The first video, which is this video, is going to be tuning with the fine tuners, which are these doohickeys on your tailpiece. And then the second video, we're going to go over the advanced technique of tuning with your pegs. I give you a warning right away. Don't touch the pegs unless absolutely necessary. And don't use the pegs if you're not really sure you can get it. The pegs have a lot of danger of going too far too easily and snapping a string. You're responsible to buy your own strings, so please don't use the pegs unless you absolutely need to. Okay, so tuning with the fine tuners. There's a couple tips on tuning that I want to go over first, and the first one of those is it is easier for your ear to hear tuning to pitch if you start lower and work your way up to it. And you can practice that with your voice if you want to go to an A, and my voice is a little scratchy because of allergies, so maybe I can get it in tune, maybe I can't. But I'm hearing an A note, so if I want an A note, I can do it with my voice. Here's what I want. I can start lower. Bum. And the more you practice that aural skill of hearing the pitch go up to close to where you want it, the faster and easier it will be to tune, even if you're using a tuner like I'm going to show you today, an electronic tuner. Okay, so it's easier to start lower. Also, as you are learning to tune, or every time you go to tune, it's a really good time to check whether your bridge is sitting up straight. So what you want is the back of your bridge towards the tailpiece to look like it's 90 degrees with the top of your instrument here. And then the front of the bridge towards your fingerboard is going to look like it's leaning over just a little bit back towards the tailpiece, but it's the back towards the tailpiece that you want totally straight. There is two other tips that I want to go over. If you are tuning all four strings, or five as I have in this weirdo viola, if you're tuning all four strings, they all exert pressure on the neck of your instrument. So if you tune your first string and you got it perfect, and then you come across the other strings, you may actually, by changing the pressure and tuning those strings, knock the first one out of tune a little bit. So it's always good practice to get them close the first time and then go back and fine-tune and make sure they're exact. There's also a thing in tuning where if you're turning this fine-tuner, the string itself is getting tighter, but sometimes it can stick on the wood of the bridge, and sometimes even the bridge on the nut up here. So it's a good habit as you're tuning to just give a real gentle tug on the string to make sure that the pressure, if it's stuck here, will release and it's not tighter here than it is here. Because then if you start playing, the vibration will probably knock it loose, and then your string won't sound in tune because it's released the pressure from the one side. So it's always a good idea to give them just a tad. I'm not yanking on the string, but just a tad of a tug. Okay, so now tuning with fine tuners. I am going to advise you to use, while you are at home, an electronic tuner. They come in many ways. I'm going to show you here the online tuner that I know you can use with your Chromebooks. It's called the Online Metronome. And let me see if I can get this in tune. No spaces, the Online Metronome. And I said in tune, I meant in focus. So that's the one I'm going to be using. There are lots of chromatic tuners you can download for your phone or your device if you want to use those things. You could also buy a clip-on tuner, which on violins and violas we would clip up to the thin part of our scroll. Cellos, a lot of times you'll clip that on your bridge. You could clip it to a peg where it would fit. Basses, you'll probably use your bridge if you're using that. But that's just it has a vibration sensitive microphone instead of a vibration in the air sensitive. So if you're in a noisy room, these work better. But apps are free, and online tuners are free. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You also see me using a tuning fork in class all the time, and I suggest using something like that to help your ear figure out whether you're in tune without having to look at the little dial. But without further ado, the online metronome, the tuner part of it. So the way this works, and I have it right here, and hopefully that will be in another screen, is when you pluck a string, it tells you what pitch that you're hearing, and it also has a dial that goes up and down, and the object is to get that right in the middle. So first you want to make sure it's the right letter. And I want to caution you, if you have the right letter but it has a sharp after it, that's not going to sound in tune. Here I've got a D sharp. That's not a D note. I need to move it down until it's a D natural note, and then make sure on the regular D natural that I have the string in tune. So we're going to start out with the A string, and my viola is a weirdo. It has an E string on it, so I can play it like a violin, but it also has the 4 strings of the viola, so I can play it with the A, D, G, C of the viola and the cello. So I'll tune all 5 strings, but we'll start on the A string, and I'm going to pluck that, and a lot of times I will hold it on my knee, I'll pluck with my left hand, and I'll turn the fine tuner with my right. That way I can hear it going as I'm watching the tuner. So I'm a little low. I'm going to turn it. Getting there. Now I got it pretty close. I'm going to give that string a little tug to see if it's stuck. And it did. It went a little bit, tiny bit lower. And that's pretty good. All right. Now I'm going to move down to the D string. And I already showed you this says D sharp. So let's move this down so that it's a D natural, and then we can tune the D. So lefty-loosey on the fine tuner. Now I'm too low, which is fine. It's easier to hear going back up to the D anyway. And I'm going to call that good enough for now and go down to the G string. Righty-tighty to make it higher. Oop, too high. Give that a little tug to see if it stuck, and it definitely did. Did you see that? Then I'm going to go down to the C string. If you're a violin, you don't have a C string. You've gotten as low as you can go. Then you need to go onto the E string, which we're going to do now. This one's a little higher, so we'll go low. Lefty-loosey. Now I'm too low. That's fine. And got it pretty close on. So now, check the E. Check the A, and did you see that the A is higher than it was when we tuned it perfect because of all the other things that we tuned? So let's adjust that. Little tug. That's pretty close. D, also higher than we tuned it. Then the G. Okay, and now we have our my voice won't work. Everywhere there's ants, 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 and they are digging, 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 digging in the ground, 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 all the way to China. And that's the ant song that goes across all of our strings, and now it sounds a whole lot better than it did at the beginning. So on the outset, that's really all you need to do, but it does take practice in doing it more and more. So again, Please only use the fine tuners if you're just starting on this. Don't touch the pegs. And if you feel like you're ready to tune with the pegs, then tune in for the second video in this series, How to Tune with the Pegs. So happy tuning, and I will see you around, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.